One of the things we've noticed, by the way, that has already gotten some attention back in the States is the sense of civic responsibility here, how respectful everyone is here, how safe everyone feels on your streets. This is not the case in a lot of American cities, and it's inspiring to tell Americans about how the Taiwanese people are respectful, law-abiding, and the civic responsibility that they have. Also wanted to ask you, how would you describe the situation right now with your neighbor China? There's obviously a lot of global concerns about a sense of rhetoric heating up, a sense that there is a pathway now that is becoming more imminent, that there could be a crisis. How do you want to describe the situation right now for specifically an American audience as to what's going on here?
I also want to thank you for commending our civil society. In the international community, Taiwan is often lauded as being a place where the most beautiful scenery is actually its people. Recently, due to a typhoon, a barrier lake overflowed in Hualien, causing a significant number of injuries and deaths. Streets and houses were covered in mud. Taiwanese society mobilized to help people affected. We had a long holiday weekend this past weekend. On the first day, 30,000 people traveled to Hualien to offer assistance. And on both the second and third days, another 40,000 went, meaning that over 100,000 people of their own accord took their shovels to help those affected. In our society, these people were referred to as superheroes with shovels. So you can feel that in Taiwan, there's a lot of warmth. People are kind, so our streets at nighttime or daytime are generally very safe. Your question was about Taiwan's relations with China. I very much hope that everyone in the world who pays attention to Taiwan-China issues can be clear about several things. First, the Republic of China and the People's Republic of China are not subordinate to each other. Taiwan is not a part of the PRC. China does not have the right to invade Taiwan. Secondly, China has been holding military exercises in the Taiwan Strait, undermining peace and stability in the region. So it is China, not Taiwan, that is disrupting the cross-strait status quo. The fact that the Taiwanese people seek to protect their sovereignty and pursue a way of life based on democracy, freedom, and human rights should not be seen as a provocation against China. Thirdly, even though Taiwan is facing increasing threats from China, Taiwan has not given up on seeking peace and mutual prosperity across the strait. We understand that peace is priceless, and that there are no winners in war. Peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait are essential elements of global security and prosperity. Our pursuit of peace is an ideal, not a fantasy. We believe that to achieve peace, there must be strength. Since taking office, I have implemented the 4 Pillars of Peace Action Plan. The first pillar is strengthening Taiwan's national defense. Our defense spending, as defined by NATO, will reach 3.32% of GDP next year, and this will increase to 5% of GDP by 2030. We are procuring arms from the United States and partners across the international community. At the same time, we are promoting indigenous defense capabilities. We will work with the international community to co-develop arms, including R&D, design, and manufacturing. This will allow the domestic defense industry to grow and contribute to Taiwan's security. Drones, unmanned submarines, and robotics are all areas that Taiwan will prioritize in the future. The second pillar is enhancing our economic resilience. In 2010, 83.8% of Taiwan's outbound investments went to China, but last year this number was only 7%. The United States is now Taiwan's largest destination for outbound investment. In other words, we are not putting all of our eggs in the same basket. We hope that Taiwan's industries will be rooted in Taiwan. deploy globally and market across the world. This will not only strengthen our economy, but also make it more resilient, thereby safeguarding Taiwan's security. The third pillar is standing together with the United States and other free and democratic countries to bolster joint deterrence. This will allow us to prevent war by preparing for one. And fourthly, Taiwan is willing to engage in dialogue with China based on parity and dignity. Through exchanges and cooperation, we can achieve the goal of peace and mutual prosperity. We hope that Taiwan will continue to enjoy the support of President Trump. If he is able to convince Xi Jinping to permanently renounce the use of force against Taiwan, President Trump will surely win the Nobel Peace Prize.
If I could ask you, if you could speak directly to President Trump about the situation of Taiwan right now, the security situation more specifically, what would you want him to know about ways to bolster the U.S.-Taiwan relationship, and what would you view as goals that could be achieved in this very important partnership?
I would suggest that he take note of the fact that Xi Jinping is not just holding ever larger military exercises in the Taiwan Strait, but expanding China's military deployment in the South and East China Seas. China's military exercises now extend across the Indo-Pacific region. Its aircraft carriers are moving beyond the first island chain and second island chain, and its northern fleet even sailed around Japan for a week. Chinese naval vessels also conducted live-fire exercises in Australia's exclusive economic zone. The situation in the Indo-Pacific region is changing constantly, and tensions are rising. So the issue is not only a possible annexation of Taiwan. If it is able to annex Taiwan, China will be in a stronger position to compete with the United States and alter the rules-based international order. This would eventually also impact U.S. interests. So, we hope that President Trump can continue to maintain peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific. Taiwan is determined to ensure its national security. We will fulfill our responsibility and work with free and democratic countries to maintain regional peace and stability.
What would you say, because in America, given some difficult lessons we have learned about foreign policy and foreign policy intervention, there's a focus on partners who will carry their weight for their own defense and have a willingness to fight. If anyone in America, whether policy or voter, citizen, has a question about whether Taiwan is willing to defend its own sovereignty, what would you say to that question?
I would tell them that Taiwan is absolutely determined to ensure its own national security. Peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait are indispensable elements in global security and prosperity. So, when Taiwan looks after its own national security, it shows that Taiwan is committed to protecting regional peace and stability as well. That is why, as I mentioned before, we are continuing to increase our national defense budget. So, during former President Tsai Ing-wen's term, the national defense budget was increased from 1.9% of GDP to 2.5%. Next year, it will reach 3.32%, and we hope to increase this to 5% by 2030. This would be 5 years earlier than NATO's own goal. I also convened a high-level national security meeting in which we defined the Chinese Communist Party regime as a foreign hostile force, and I proposed 17 strategies to address the 5 major threats we face from China. These will translate into more than 100 amendments to our national security laws, which will be reviewed by the Legislative Yuan during the current session. This will put Taiwan on a stronger legal footing, bolster its national defense, and allow people to contribute their power towards safeguarding our nation and protecting regional peace and stability. I believe that people help those who help themselves. So I very much agree with your idea that Taiwan and other countries should meet their own responsibilities. And when we show unity and work together, that is when deterrence is at its strongest. And that is when we will be able to safeguard peace and stability in the world.
As part of our trip here, we were able to spend some time with people from TSMC. Obviously, there's a tremendous global and American specifically interest in artificial intelligence. It was also very interesting to learn in detail about the incredible facility that TSMC has built and is building out more in Arizona. I would like to ask you to speak to the economic partnership specifically in advanced technology, microchip manufacturing, artificial intelligence, the relationship between Taiwan and America going forward, and how you view that to grow and bring prosperity for both countries.
So we all know that Taiwan's technology industry has performed well. This is the result of decades of cooperation among Taiwan's industries, government, academia, and R&D sector, as well as the support of the Taiwanese people. But I must also note with appropriate humility that TSMC and the Taiwanese semiconductor industry are still only one part of a bigger ecosystem and do not represent the whole system. So if you look at the entire semiconductor ecosystem, the United States is strong in areas such as innovation, R&D, and design. And it is also the biggest market. Japan is strong in raw materials and related equipment. And the Republic of Korea, they have flash memory. Taiwan's strength is in wafer manufacturing. And the Netherlands makes the critical equipment that is used to make semiconductors. But in the whole ecosystem, you can see that around 80% of profits go to the United States. So for semiconductors, I would say the United States is still the leader in this ecosystem. Looking ahead, as we face the AI era, every nation in the semiconductor ecosystem will be extremely important, and the United States will continue to lead the world in this. So Taiwan is very willing to work with the United States to achieve this goal. We want to help the United States reindustrialize and become a global AI hub. We want the United States to continue to lead the world in this new AI era, and we want to help make America great again. So with regard to Taiwan's semiconductor industry, we see it as an important responsibility in terms of ensuring the world's future prosperity. That is why the Taiwan government has been very supportive of TSMC's investments in the United States and Japan, as well as Germany. In the future, when the United States has reindustrialized and become a global AI hub, I am sure that TSMC will continue to play a crucial role.